My name's Eli, and I work as a janitor in the president's offices. I do my work, and I keep my head down. But one day, after working there for over a year, I finally saw him in the flesh. I couldn't help but stare. Unfortunately, the president caught me doing it, and he was not impressed at all.
You! How dare you look at me? What do you do here?
I'm a janitor, sir.
And you think it's appropriate for a stupid janitor to look at the president of this great nation directly?
I'm sorry, sir. It's just that I'm such a big fan of your work, sir. Do you mind signing an autograph for me? My mother would be so proud.
What do you think I am? Some dumb celebrity? I don't care how your mother feels. I am the leader of this country, and if you ever talk to me directly again, I will make sure you never see daylight again.
I'd never been so startled in my life. The president wouldn't stop yelling at me, so I jumped away in shock, and in my panic I bumped a vase that was behind me. I looked around and I could feel the president's glare from behind. I knew that vase. It was a gift to the president from the King of Brunei, and he cherished that gift so much. If I wasn't already in trouble before, I sure as heck was now.
Do you know how much that vase cost? You would have to work 100 years to be even able to pay me back for the pedestal it stood on!
The president was so mad that he punished me. He had me thrown in a dungeon for 3 days, and when the guards fetched me, he demanded that I become his personal servant. Now, not only was I the janitor at the presidential palace, I also became his personal janitor at his residence. He made me pick up after him. He barked orders at me as if I was a dog, and whenever I made a mistake, he'd hit me on the head with a rolled-up newspaper. The only good thing about working for him was his daughter, Penelope. She was kind to me, always apologizing for her dad's meanness. And I have to admit, she brightened my day every time she was around. Eventually, the president made me his bag man. I carried around a bag that contained anything he needed, from fountain pens to medicine to energy bars. I memorized the names of people who were gonna attend the same events as him, and whenever they'd approach and say hello, I would whisper their names to the president and what they did, or tidbits of trivia about their lives, just so the president didn't seem like he had no idea who those people were, and inadvertently offend them. I became the president's lapdog, but what he didn't know was that he had put me in the perfect position. He handed me the most powerful weapon he could have. Intel. Being his janitor gave me access to his office. Being his bagman gave me access to the names, the whereabouts, and the identities of very important people in his political sphere. And being around to pick up after him 24/7 meant that I overheard conversations that not even 5-star generals had access to. Because what the president didn't know was that I was a foreign spy. I identified the key players in the president's inner circle, and then I got to work on neutralizing them. First was the president's chief advisor. He was rumored to have a mistress the same age as his own daughter. I went to the chief advisor's address while he was away, put on a vest, and pretended to be a rep from a nearby resort. I knocked on the chief advisor's door and was greeted by his wife. I offered them complimentary tickets for a free stay that the wife and daughter could not refuse. And I dated that free star for the exact same day that the chief advisor and his mistress were going to be there. The day the wife and his daughter went, the scandal broke and shook the country. Videos of the confrontation between the chief advisor His wife and the side piece became viral, and in only 2 days, he resigned from his post. Coincidentally, his wife's family was very influential, and they were very offended by the whole thing. The chief advisor had no choice but to do what they wanted and focus on his family. Otherwise, he would have no career anywhere. The chief advisor now lives on a small farm in Switzerland. The next piece I had to topple was Senator Price. He was the president's attack dog. He's a business tycoon who made his name in oil and mining, and now he uses his influence as senator to make more money for himself and those who are opportunistic enough to lick his boots. I uncovered his ties to lobbyists who he hired to fight for his cause, and how he made himself $1 billion just in the past year by passing laws that benefited his personal businesses. I then made sure I gossiped with the most talkative secretaries. They, in turn, spread the gossip like wildfire, and within a month, the media was abuzz about the rumors. The rumors turned into an investigation, and Senator Price was called into a congressional hearing. His whole office was brought in for questioning, and they all sang like canaries. Senator Price was expelled from his position and was sent to prison after he was found guilty of all charges. The last guardian was the president's chief of staff, his right hand. I sent a spy to entrap him, a beautiful girl who used her charms to entice the chief of staff. They went on a few dates, and on date 3 he was ready to do anything in the world for her. And while the girl distracted him in the living room, I snuck into his home office. I hacked into his computer and downloaded every sensitive file I could get my hands on. Leaks of presidential secrets began to come out.
What is happening in this palace? First, that dumb advisor gets caught by his wife. Then Price gets booted out. And now this? These leaks have got to stop. You are all incompetent idiots!
I shouldn't have been eavesdropping. I found myself in direct firing range of the president's fury.
And you are the most incompetent of all! You nosy, useless loser of a janitor! Why are you even here? Isn't there a toilet you're supposed to clean somewhere?
I got a beep in my hidden earpiece that the upload had begun, and that told me that I didn't need to keep my cover anymore. No. Actually, I'm here to turn your TV on.
What?
This just in! A massive leak from the presidential palace has broken, and, along with it, a deluge of sensitive, private conversations, emails, videos involving the president, and what we believe are evidence of corruption in the palace. Take a listen to these excerpts. They played voice note after voice note, played videos and showed screenshots of emails, all showing the president insulting his colleagues, the congressmen, and the senators who oppose him. They showed emails of the president's illegal dealings with criminal organizations that paid him vast sums of money for their immunity to the law. Picketers and protesters began to gather outside. All over the country, people were calling for him to resign. But the president did not want to let go of his power. They held an impeachment hearing within a day, and the president had to be dragged into the courtroom. They played the voice notes where the president was insulting his opponents during the hearing, and guess who was presiding over the impeachment proceedings? The very same congressmen and senators that he insulted in those tapes. The impeachment seemed more like some formality. Those people made their mind up the moment the president walked in. President Cormier was impeached and handed over to the authorities in less than 2 hours, making history for the shortest impeachment proceedings in history. He was replaced by the vice president, a more peace-loving politician who stood opposite everything that Mr. Cormier ever stood for. And I had finally achieved my mission. See, I never told you why I became a spy. 3 years ago, Cormier's country, on his orders, invaded mine. They walked through our borders and started claiming the lands they occupied was theirs. Anyone who fought were either imprisoned by their military or worse. All because Cormier wanted to take a diamond mine that was owned by his rival. Innocent people suffered, and it was all for one man's greed. For 2 years, I worked my way to becoming Cormier's janitor, just for that one moment when I finally got rid of him. But it was all worth it. Now that President Salinas is in power, the war has stopped. My people can go back to their lands, and peace can begin again. Cormier was sentenced to 30 years in prison for starting an unjust war and for his corruption. I still think that sentence was far too short, but at the very least, Cormier will be banned from running for any office ever again. If he so much as ran for a parent-teachers association, he was gonna get thrown right back into the gulag. But before the police took Cormier away, I made sure he went in knowing that his only daughter, Penelope, has been dating me the whole time. Oh, and by the way, we're moving to my country. But don't worry, we'll send you postcards. I kissed Penelope again just to rub it in, and nothing was more satisfying than hearing a corrupt, evil politician begging for mercy.
Please don't forget to share this podcast on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and so on. Thanks for your support. Check out our YouTube channel by clicking the link in this episode description. And also, kindly please rate and review this podcast. Bye.